The meeting of December 17th, 2021 will come to order. Do we have any special intentions?
I do, Councilman.
Mayor?
Keep in our prayers Sean and Blair Green. He is a Kenner fireman, and the loss of his son that is 3 years old. Anytime that is terrible, obviously, but particularly during the holidays, please keep that family and one of our firemen, him and his wife, in your thoughts and prayers.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilman Hayes?
Please keep in your prayers a active citizen in the city of Kenner, Bill Pepperone, passed away recently. His wife, Faith, and Bill are valuable assets to the community, and we ask for your thoughts and prayers. Thank you.
Councilwoman McKinney?
Yes, thank you, Council Chair, or Council President. I just want to ask for prayers for Al Swanner's family. He passed away last week and had his service on Tuesday. Just pray for their family. Obviously, it's a great loss. He was a great member of the community, and keep that family in their prayers. Thanks.
Thank you. Mayor's on.
And Council Chairman, that is reminding me, and I'm glad Councilman McKinney and also Councilman Hayes reminded me with those two residents, but also Mr. Bob McMinn. I don't know if it was before the last council meeting or not. A former council member, Michael McMinn's father. The McMinn family has been here for a very long time, and Bob McMinn was a friend of this council, this administration, the police department, fire department, and the city of Kenner. Keep that family in your prayers.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate that. And anybody else have any special intentions? Seeing none. Next, I would like to ask that Reverend Clay, he's here with us today to lead us in prayer, but I wanted just to mention a couple of things about Reverend Clay. Since COVID, I just want to give you a general idea about this good gentleman, some of his background that I've known him for many, many years, but I wanted to mention something that's just outstanding. I think very highly of this gentleman. Since COVID started, he has been feeding the homeless and feeding people who are just in great need. He's been doing these things for quite some time. I mean, we're not talking months, we're talking a year and a half, 2 years. After Ida, his personal home flooded. And even though his home flooded, and I state, he said, God will provide for me. He's not worried about himself. He's worried about others. And he kept feeding the homeless. He did this on and on and on for many, many, many months. And again, probably closer to 2 years now, he's doing this on a regular basis. He's just constantly helping people. Bless you, Reverend Clay, and I appreciate you being here with us today and leading us in prayer. So if you will, Reverend, it's a great honor for you to be here today in front of us. Thank you.
Let us pray. Father God, we bless your name. We bless your name. We bless your name. And we thank you for all your loving kindness and all your tender mercies. For behold, what manner of love that you have bestowed upon us, that we shall be called the children of God. We love you for your kindness. We love you for your love. For your graciousness have been better to us than life itself. And we thank you. We adore you for your awesomeness, your greatness, your incomparable powers. For there is none like you and none that can compare to you. You are God, and you are God alone. And we thank you. We pray this morning for wisdom and providence for the mayor, for the police chief, for the council, for the entire administration, and for all of the citizens of the city of Kenner. And as they deliberate the issues that are before them, give them the intestinal fortitude. Give them the foresight that is required to make intentional decisions that will result in the goodwill of all of the citizens of this city. We've heard the petitions of the various council members for those who are sick and those who have transitioned from this side of life onto the other side. We pray that you will be their shield, be their son, and give them grace and glory. For you said, no good thing will you withhold from them. I lift up this morning Councilman Wilmot's father, who I've met. I pray even at the age of 91 that you will strengthen his body and give the family a fresh testimony, and that you would encamp your angels around him. Now, Lord, I thank you for those who have been honored this morning, Mabel, Sylvia, Elaine, and Robert, and the other gentlemen who have given such longevity of service to this community. Now we give you thanks in all things. Oh God, as we approach the Christmas holiday, we thank you for sending your Son. We thank you for his presence, and we kiss his presence this morning. Now, Lord, fill this body today, this august gathering, with your peaceable fruits of righteousness, and keep the righteousness of your right hand upon these leaders. And I speak and decree and declare unity and oneness of heart, oneness of spirit for the goodwill of all of the citizens. Oh God, in this age of turmoil, in this age of misunderstanding, and in this age of rapidity, might it be heard like in the days of yesterday when they stood behind the mountain of Zion and said, let Mount Zion rejoice, and let the daughters of Judah be glad. For one day in the morning, the warfares of the misunderstanding, the division of this life will all be over, and we will truly be perfectly one in you. It's in the most precious and powerful and perfect name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, we pray this morning. Amen. Amen. God bless you.
Thank you, Reverend Clay, for those lovely words. Next, I would ask that Chief Morris, if you will, lead us in the pledge. Madam Clerk.
Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum. In accordance with Council Resolution Number B14550, please be advised that all cellular telephones and other devices of this nature must be deactivated or silenced throughout the council meeting. Correspondence, reports from the mayor, CAO, or department heads at this time.
Mayor.
Thank you, Council Chairman. Thank you for letting me go while y'all are moving some things out of order. I'll explain a little bit why I requested to go at this time. But sales tax numbers, citywide tax revenues for December that we received in December, not for December, that we received, are up 39.5%, which is $1.1 million compared to the same month last year. For the current fiscal year, we are up 26.4%, and that for the whole year, and that equates to $4.3 million up for the year. So as you see, we're doing somewhat better. Things have been better, obviously, with, unfortunately, because of Ida, caused some purchases, but the city did benefit from that. So I am glad to hear that people are spending their money here in the city of Kenner, and our stores are open to do that. The only other thing I have this morning, this is why I asked for me to go right before y'all go into executive session and move something around that Councilman Carroll's going to request, is Fire Chief Terrence Morris is here with our new medical director, Dr. Mullidew. If Terrence wants to step up, Chief Morris, step up, introduce the new medical director and explain, the need for this and explain to the council so he can introduce himself. Thank you, Council Chairman.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning, Council. Over the recent years, months, especially lately, a lot of the first responders, the police, the fire department, and medical side, EMS divisions have been running shortfalls with the number of members they're able to recruit and retain. Subsequently, here in Kenner, we've been experiencing periods where we don't have medical transportation for our residents, visitors, or passers-by that we are called to administer medical aid to. We've had, on average, about 2 calls a day where we are sitting on scenes with patients. Some of them are declining rapidly that we need to provide adequate medical care to. Currently, at the level we operate at as the EMR, that's basic care, basically O2 and not much else that we could do to assist those patients. So no patient should be in a position where we, as a service, aren't able to provide the best pre-hospital care we can until we can get them transported to the hospital. Thus, I asked the administration to allow me to bring on a medical director to assist us with improving the training and the level of care that we are able to provide to the community, and to come up with possible plans to have a transport system so no one, like we've had in the recent past with an infant that we're doing CPR on, or a kid that was hit that we laying 15 minutes waiting for an ambulance, or just yesterday we had another event like that was really serious. So I talked to Dr. Molladoo, who I'm about to introduce to you, to come in and help us to improve that level of care, whether we go up to basic paramedic and then start developing transport options for the community to provide better care for our citizens in their greatest time of need prior to them getting to the hospital. So with that, I'm going to introduce Dr. Andre Molladoo. He's an emergency room physician at East Jefferson LCMC now. Dr. Molladoo.
Hello, thanks for having me. I appreciate Chief Morris bringing me on. Chief Morris has had some foresight about the problems that he already mentioned. We do have a bit of a nationwide crisis on a lack of paramedics, and that is currently expected to become exacerbated as time goes on. We have fewer people going into the field, and this has started to affect Kenner. It's started to affect every community, but in Kenner, obviously, is Chief Morris's area. And he noticed, with the delays in transport, it was starting to affect people, and we're concerned that this is going to continue to grow. There will be further delays in transporting patients who need medical care to hospitals. So again, just to reiterate, he brought me on board to help increase the training of our firemen up to an EMT level and even to a paramedic level. So instead of waiting for 15 minutes for transport, or potentially 20 in the future or 30 in the future, we will be able to, as a department, transport patients to hospitals. Because as is at the emergency medical responder level, that basically that first responder level, transporting patients who are ill to a hospital is not in that scope of practice. And so beyond just that, my goal is to help facilitate education of our firemen to the next level, getting them properly certified at the state and national level, and then just to help with just the overall care of the citizens of Kenner via the fire department.
Wonderful. Any questions? Councilman Carroll?
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Doctor, for coming in. And I guess this is more directed to the Chief, and maybe the Doctor can add in. So just for clarity for myself, the Doctor will introduce a course for specific firemen who will be part of a team of medical people who will increase their medical support to the citizens of Kenner. Is that correct?
Basically, what happens is we operate under his license, and he directs, medical director, he directs the training, he dictates the training that we have, and it won't be a few individuals. The intention is to get the entire fire department trained to that level, so that no matter who responds, we all will have that level of training and ability to administer a higher level of care in a pre-hospital setting.
So, and thank you for correcting me, not a few, but the entire fire department.
Yes.
And the Doctor will be putting together, I guess, a plan for us that can be printed, that can be read, that can be delivered to all the firemen as we get new firemen to help them understand the level of medical expertise we can give. So that's the goal of doing that. And how long is the time frame for the Doctor's participation to support our firemen?
Well, in a pre-hospital setting, in order to operate at an EMT basic level or higher, you have to operate under the license of a physician. So once we implement and do the research and implement, see what's the best route for us to take in the implementation of this, the doctor will always be on board with the fire department, because we will have to have that license to operate under, for instance, at the paramedic level. Paramedics can run cardiac arrest codes on scene and administer all the drugs that they would do in the emergency room setting. So in that instance, and the sooner you get that level of medical prevention, the better outcomes you end up having. And you need the doctor's license in order to operate at that level.
Mm-hmm. So I guess I didn't ask the right question. As far as the length of training, what is the length of training? There's a start and then there's an end that the training that will be provided to the firemen. Is it a 2-week, 3-week, 4-week, 5-week?
No, Councilman. It's ongoing training. We have to get everybody trained, which is the process of going through EMT basic classes. And the doctor can speak to this better than I can. It's always training. Actually, that's part of the reason why he was late. He had training he had to go to this morning. So it's a continuous process, because medicine changes all the time.
Yeah, and yeah, obviously, yeah, that does happen and change all the time. But there's normally a core set of information that a person will get, even doctors, they get the core, and then as each day and things change, they add that to it. And I guess the doctor can answer this question more specifically. Will there be a core group of information that you will conduct with the firemen so they can get that? And then if so, what is the length that normally they will take to be trained up to a certain level? Not to be a doctor,
right,
but to a certain level.
Well, we're implementing our first course. We signing our guys up and getting the training and submitting it to the state to host our first EMT basic course. Remember, our guys operate at an EMT emergency responder level currently. So to get the guys licensed at the EMT basic level, which means they could do a little more than an emergency responder, administer more medication and drugs of that nature at the basic level. So that course usually runs about 80 hours, 100 hours. So it's on-duty training that we will give to the members in order to achieve that.
Yeah.
But that will be over time, over the course of a year, to hopefully get the entire department up to their basic level. Because
Okay.
we'll have to do several courses.
Okay. And Chief, will this become part of the fireman's, I guess, playbook to be
Yeah.
added as
Part
part
of our job description, class plan.
Yeah, I think this is something great to have for the firemen, not only for the firemen themselves as individuals, but it transfers into our community. So to be
Correct.
able to be prepared to address everything that's going on and things change on a regular basis around here, it is beneficial to be able to go out, not just to go out, but to be able to support until people are transferred to a bigger facility to address their concerns. So, I look forward to this training for the firemen, the contiguous training that they will be receiving to make the city of Kenner a better place to be able to address, challenges that we will have. There's no doubt about it. So thank you, Doctor, for your support, and look forward to your training for the officers. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Councilman Hayes.
Chief, do you know of any other fire departments that are doing this?
Nationally, the medical system in most cities is under the fire service. Some cities is separate from it. New Orleans is one that the medical side, the emergency, the transportation, the EMS side is not under the fire department. But most of your larger cities are under the fire service, where you see fire, medical rescue signs on fire trucks all the time. So it's a common practice within nationally that medical side coincides with the fire side.
Well, thank you for this innovative approach.
Councilman Brannigan.
I think this is incredible that the firemen will have the education to be able to assist on the, in the situation of an accident or something like that more than they can now. Is it also tied to paramedic groups and ambulance services too, or do we not deal with that?
No, that's the ultimate goal that I like to see happen, is that we get enough of our guys trained to the paramedic level, because, of course, at that point, you can do whatever he gives you orders to do within the scope of medicine training. You're able to provide that pre-hospital setting that may be the difference in saving someone's life or just transporting them to the hospital.
Right, so that would increase the ability to save a person
Yes.
if they're on the borderline. And if it's tied between the paramedics and the fire department, I feel that's a plus. Do we know how many ambulances are tied in Kenner or, throughout Kenner during a given day? Or like when we had the truck fire on the bridge the other night, that would help response time if we knew how many were in our area. Do you have any idea?
We have an agreement with East Jefferson Hospital
Okay.
to provide that service to us. But as I said before, most of these EMS first responders across the nation are having shortfalls with staffing, like
Right.
most other places. And it's been critical times where they didn't have an ambulance available to send us. It would be 15, 20 minutes out. And
Okay.
I don't think any citizen, any person should have to wait that long to be transported to a hospital or receive a higher level of pre-hospital care than we could give. It's a tremendous strain mentally on the fireman when you're on the scene and you're not able to do much anything else for an individual that you watch and go downhill. So I don't want our guys to suffer that emotional strain, nor should any citizen be in a position where they're not receiving the best care. And I don't think I've said this before, but thank you, Councilman, for y'all Lucas device purchases. That'll go a long way too. But nobody should have to experience that delay or watch their loved one experience that delay because we don't have an ambulance available.
Well, I tell you, this is a big deal, and I commend you for getting this thing rolling and getting this taken care of. It's going to only help the residents of the city of Kenner.
Yes.
Thank you, Chief.
You're welcome.
Councilwoman McKinney.
Yes, thank you, Council President. And thank you, I look forward to hearing all the great things that are happening with training, and I think it's really important for the firefighters to be able to get this other opportunity to do this additional learning. a little concerned. I don't want them all to become paramedics after they, after they get this training, but hopefully they'll stay here and we'll give them a reason to stay in Kenner. But I did have just two questions. Jefferson Parish, so does Jefferson Parish have a medical director, and do they work in the same way? And I guess that's a question for Chief Morris. And then also, I knew that there was a question about how many ambulances are in the city of Kenner. Do they have any dedicated ambulance to the city of Kenner?
As I said, we have the ambulance question. We have the agreement with East Jefferson LCMC now to provide minimum number of ambulances to Kenner, and sometimes that's not the case, you know, and I've seen it too many times, especially in the last couple of months. Like I said, we're running almost on average about 1.8 times a day where we call for an ambulance and they don't have any units available to send to us, and that's the reality of it. And my plan is to not have that be a reality for any of our citizens. Now, the question as far as Jefferson Parish Medical Director, I'm not sure of what the parish does on a parish level, but I know what we can do on a city level.
Councilman Shiger?
Thank you, Council President. Chief, yeah, I'm familiar with that arrangement, and unfortunately, I know it's generally 2 ambulances, but we nowhere near have those ambulances in the city of Kenner. Just from my listening to the radio, many times we're waiting for ambulances to come. And obviously, it's like you said, it sure has to do with the shortage of personnel and maybe even an increase in service calls. So between the two, that is what's leading to this lack of the service. Would it be fair to say that this process, having the medical director and the training, would perhaps lead to us having our own ambulance service to be able to handle these calls more efficiently?
It possibly will lend itself to that direction. We are going to do some studies on it to see what the benefit, what the cost would be to the community to actually set up a medical service, a complete medical service here. And hopefully it's something that we will be able to, if we can make it either self-sustaining or close enough to self-sustaining where it wouldn't cost the citizens a ton of money just through the billing processes and stuff like that with the transports, because not all the transport will be emergent, and some of the transports would be billed through insurance companies. So we need to look at do the whole run of everything to make certain we can do that, but we need to get started in the process of getting our guys trained for that.
Oh, no, I'm agreeing with you. Getting them trained is the first step, but as I see it migrate to that level, you're going to need an ambulance or two to have the equipment, the medicine, and the facilities that they can provide. You can't necessarily put that in a fire truck and then expect them to do it and then not be able to deliver that person to a hospital. So having an ambulance is the next step. And I understand, you know, that's not a service that we have to fund entirely, because there are billing arrangements with insurance companies and other services to be paid for that service that a resident would receive. So I'm just saying, I do encourage that we continue this process with the training, and then also do, as you said, studies to see if we can implement our own ambulance service so we can be more cognizant of when we having problems and how to address it, so we're not relying on someone else. And you're sitting, as well as, you know, our police department, sitting in the field waiting for an ambulance that just don't come right now.
Right. Well, that's the plan, and currently, like I said, the first step is to get the guys trained, the members trained to that level, and hopefully, you know, look at putting in sprint units so we're not taxing the fire trucks with that to do a quicker response and better care until we could get an ambulance. And then the next step after that would be to actually put the ambulance system in place.
I got you, but I'm good with that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilman Brennan?
Thank you, sir. Chief, didn't at one point, we would rely on East Jefferson ambulances, but wasn't the overflow handled by Acadian at one point for a long time? Is that
Well,
is that no longer in place?
No, that's still in place, sir. It's agreements with the entire region. It's not just Acadian, it's Acadian, New Orleans, East Jefferson, all of the, if we have a system in place that if you call for rollover calls to see if any one of these agencies have an ambulance to transport. Now that takes, the ambulance may be in LaPlace somewhere, you know, and anywhere like that. So there is a system in place where it's not just EJ rolling over to Acadian. It's any service that we'll call and get the closest one available. But the problem is that time that we're sitting on the scene trying to provide care.
This will allow,
Yeah, this will,
as you're saying, things to be done while
we're waiting.
Waiting
And
minutes
hopefully,
seem like hours.
we can get beyond. It does, especially if your loved one laying down there that we're working on. That, you know, the minute seems like hours. I've been in that situation, so we don't want to have citizens go through that. And if we are forced to, we want to be able to provide the best level of pre-hospital care to those individuals as we can.
I think it's a great idea, and again, I just wanted to clarify that it's not just those two, and if
Right.
nobody, you know, the overflow is a good, at least, alternative as well.
Right.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you,
welcome.
Doctor.
And I too, I think everybody had a chance to make comment. And I just want to thank the both of y'all. Putting this together and making it happen is really, really appreciated by apparently all of us, and I'm sure the citizens of the city of Kenner as well. Having a medical director here and getting the knowledge base up to where it could be helpful to our citizens in times of crisis is always imperative. So thank you both for doing this and putting this together. Yes, Councilman Carroll.
Thank you, Mr. President. And after hearing everybody's questions and the concerns that we have acknowledged, that you have acknowledged, obviously bringing this up, as far as the number of ambulances that we now have in Kenner, for Kenner, ready to go, would you know the number of ambulances? Is it 1, 2, 3, or whatever? Are there any? Specifically in Kenner?
We have, as I said, we have a agreement with with East Jefferson to provide ambulances, and I don't have the exact agreement in front of me, but I think it's 2 ambulances in the Sprint unit. And like I said, a lot of times that's unavailable. And Councilman Segura, listening to you hear the calls all the time where we're sitting on scenes. Police also sitting with us waiting on transport units.
So I would, and I'm not a policeman like Councilman Segura or a fireman like you, so would that mean that if they're coming from East Jefferson, they are in Metairie and they're none stationed in Kenner?
They may have started off in Kenner, but then they respond to emergencies anywhere else. And then transport, the one yesterday or day before yesterday, the lady, they didn't have one. The ambulance was 15 minutes, was leaving UMC in New Orleans. That's where it was coming from. That's a 15-minute ride on a normal basis, not in traffic time. So, you know, the lady, like I said, she was decompensating. So we took steps to.
If you could, from East Jefferson, ask where is the start point on a normal day? Do they start in Metairie, or do we have any in Kenner that we actually are physically in Kenner and start from Kenner? I like to know, just for.
Yeah, they have units that physically start in Kenner.
Yeah, and I just like to know how many we have available that start in Kenner.
Okay, I get those numbers together for you to see what the staffing is. Well, that's, you know, getting into their staffing.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones who provide the service.
Exactly.
So we need to find out what their staffing is on a daily basis to find out what actually is present in Kenner at the beginning of a day. That's the best they'll be able to give me.
Yes, and that's it. And please share it with all of us when you get that information.
Okay.
Thank you, guys. Great job. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mayor?
That's it.
All right, very good. Madam Clerk?
Yes, sir. I've received a request to take item 13A at this time in the meeting. I have a motion by Councilmember Wilmot, seconded by Councilmember McKinney, to take item 13A at the beginning of the meeting. Council members, please vote. Councilman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilman McKinney?
Yay.
Councilman Wilmot?
Yay.
Carroll?
Yay.
Segur?
Yay.
Hayes?
Yes.
Brannigan?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0 to change the order of business. Item 13 is resolutions and motions by council members. Item 13A is a resolution urging the Jefferson delegation of the Louisiana Legislature to sponsor legislation naming the Council on Aging building after Mabel Trepanier Brown. I have a motion by Councilmember Carroll, seconded by Councilmember McKinney. Okay. Councilman Carroll?
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And, through all the whole process that we did, I forgot to mention or to thank the Jefferson Parish delegation who will be supporting us as we move this. And also, I failed to add to the resolution my fellow council members and the mayor. So I want to add the mayor to it and all the council members to it, if they choose to this resolution. I think it should represent all of us, because we all had, things to say about that. So I would ask for you gentlemen and ladies and the mayor to be part of this legislation.
Sure.
Thank-
Do all council members, would you like your names added?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Is there any further discussion on the resolution? Did you want to talk about it any further, Councilman?
No, ma'am.
No?
Thank you.
Anybody else? No?
No?
Council members, please vote on item 13A. Councilman McKinney?
Yay.
Wilmot?
Yay.
Carroll?
Yay.
Segur?
Yay.
Hayes?
Yes.
Brannigan?
Yes.
Brennan?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Mr. Chairman, I've also received a request to take item 18A at the beginning of the meeting. If I could get a motion and a second. Motion by Councilmember Wilmot, seconded by Councilmember McKinney, to change the order of business to take item 18A at the beginning of the meeting. Council members, please vote to change your order of business. Councilman Wilmot?
Yay.
Carroll?
Yay.
Segur?
Yay.
Hayes?
Yes.
Brannigan?
Yes.
Brennan?
Yes.
McKinney?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Item 18 is new business. Item 18A, at the request of the administration, an executive session to discuss the following: Tracy Fernandez versus the City of Kenner et al., case number 806-546, 24th JDC Division F, and the City of Kenner et al. Are the defendants in that action. I have a motion by Councilmember McKinney, seconded by Councilmember Brannigan, to adjourn into executive session. Council members, please vote. Councilman Carroll?
Yay.
Segur?
Yay.
Hayes?
Yes.
Brannigan?
Yes.
Brennan?
Yes.
McKinney?
Yay.
Wilmot?
Yay.
Motion passes 7-0 to adjourn into executive session.
We're entering into executive session. We're resuming the meeting of December 17, 2021, after executive session. Madam Clerk?
Yes, sir. I have a motion by Councilmember McKinney, seconded by Councilmember Brannigan, to reconvene from executive session. Council members, please vote. Councilman Segur?
Yay.
Hayes?
Yes.
Brannigan?
Yes.
Brennan?
Yes.
McKinney?
Yay.
Wilmot?
Yay.
Carroll?
Yay.
Motion passes 7-0 to reconvene. Under resolutions, motions, and other items from the floor, the clerk has received a request to amend the agenda to add an item 16D, which is an ordinance amending the 2020-2021 operating budget to comply with Louisiana Revised Statute 39:1310 and 1311 due to an increase in sales tax collections. I have a motion by Councilmember Wilmot, seconded by Councilmember McKinney, to amend the agenda to add item 16D. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to object to the council amending the agenda? Please come forward.
Madam Clerk, that's being added just for first reading, correct?
That is correct, sir, just for
Okay.
first reading. It will be published in
Is there
summary.
some reason it could not have been actually on the agenda for today's meeting for first reading?
If you will, just state your name and address.
Richard Brown,
Thank you.
Sessions Lane, Kenner.
Thank
What
you.
address?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. I believe
Gives an
that would be a question maybe for the finance director, Ms. Liz?
Yeah, we had an update that was received later, so we were just asking that it be read in for first reading now instead of waiting.
Okay, okay. It can be done later, but you did not have it in time to put it on the agenda for this meeting, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
But it actually could be done at a future meeting. I have a general problem with adding things to the agenda at the meeting. At least it is just for first reading, but just for the record, since I'm fundamentally opposed to this sort of thing, I do object.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Any
Seeing no
com-
one else, council members, please vote. Councilman Hayes?
Yes.
Councilman Brannigan?
Yes.
Brennan?
Yes.
McKinney?
Yay.
Wilmot?
Yay.
Carroll?
Yay.
Segura?
Yay.
Motion passes 7-0. Under the consent agenda, we have item 1, approval of minutes, the regular council meeting of December 2nd, 2021. Item 2 is approval of alcoholic beverage permit applications. We have none. Item 3 is approval of bingo and public gathering applications. Item 3A is application number 2252-21, Coconut Beach, to hold a public gathering on January 8, 2022, from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. for the purpose of a volleyball tournament at Kenner City Park in Kenner, Louisiana. Item 4 is acceptance rejection of bids requiring an expenditure of less than $5,000. We have none. Item 5 is change orders requiring an expenditure of less than $5,000. We have none. Item 6 is acceptance of committee findings for final passage. We have none. Item 7 is re-subdivision ordinances for final passage. Item 7A is summary ordinance number 12,925, an ordinance approving the plan of re-subdivision of plots A-3A and A-2-3B into lot A-2-3B1 Highway Park Subdivision, Kenner, Jefferson Parish, Louisiana. I have a motion by Councilmember Wilmot, seconded by Councilmember McKinney. On the consent agenda, council members, please vote. Councilman Brannigan?
Yes.
Brennan?
Yes.
McKinney?
Yay.
Wilmot?
Yay.
Carroll?
Yay.
Segura?
Yay.
Hayes?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Under the public appearance agenda, we have item 9, public hearings for final passage. Item 8A is a public hearing regarding summary ordinance number 12,924, an ordinance amending the 2020-2021 operating budget to comply with Louisiana Revised Statute 39:1310-1311. I have a motion by Councilmember McKinney, seconded by Councilmember Segura, to open the public hearing. Council members, please vote. Councilman Brennan?
Yes.
McKinney?
Yes.
Wilmot?
Yay.
Carroll?
Yay.
Segura?
Yay.
Hayes?
Yes.
Brannigan?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. We're now in a public hearing. If there's anyone in the audience wishing to address the council, please come forward now. Seeing none, I have a motion by Councilmember McKinney, seconded by Councilmember Segura, to close the public hearing. Council members, please vote. Councilman McKinney?
Yay.
Councilman Wilmot?
Yay.
Carroll?
Yay.
Segura?
Yay.
Hayes?
Yes.
Brannigan?
Yes.
Brennan?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. I have a motion by Councilmember McKinney, seconded by Councilmember Segura, for approval. Councilman McKinney?
Thank you, Clerk. I just want to get a clarification from the, excuse me, the CFO. The trash collection last year increased by $1 million, and the total revenue from, I just want to, if you can explain
Yeah.
what this is.
So the increase in garbage collection due to Hurricane Zeta, which we are expecting to recoup back from FEMA once we start working those projects, the expense increased, and then our revenues were were less than what we had projected for community development. So those programs, you know, obviously with COVID, they had other programs, a lot of programs running at the same time. So we do, expect this year to see that revenue being received.
Okay, and what's home revenue as well? What is that? Is that CDG something as well?
Yeah, it's from the Jefferson Parish's portion, I'm pretty sure. I don't know if Tamithia is still here, but it's part of the community
Okay.
element. I don't know. Okay. No. So home revenue, you get a better description than me.
With Jefferson Parish and St. Charles Parish. So the way it works is that Jefferson Parish is the lead entity. We use our money just on a grant basis. They reimburse us. So we are periodically taking our, what we've expensed and getting reimbursed. Like the other day, we got a check back from Jefferson Parish for, I think, $85,000. Before it was $100,000. So as we expense, we get all of that, gather it, and then we get reimbursement. So it is coming in as quickly as we can get it in.
Okay, thank you. I guess my only other question is, so has the claims for Zeta, the $1 million over, has that been filed yet, or what is the status of that?
Yeah, so we're still working with FEMA. We did submit everything, so it's in FEMA's hands for review. We
Okay.
haven't received any funds yet.
Okay, and that was, so Zeta was last October, right?
Correct.
So over a year ago, and they're still mitigating, or they're still, haven't gotten back on those claims?
Correct, FEMA is working on the claim.
Okay, and but, excuse me, but they have been paid out, obviously?
Yeah, we have to pay our contractors, so.
Right, thank you.
No other questions, Madam Clerk?
Council members, please vote to approve. Councilman Wilmot,
Yay.
Carroll,
Yay.
Segior,
Yay.
Hayes. Yes. Brannigan,
Yes.
Brennan,
Yes.
McKinney.
Yay.
Motion passes 7-0. Item 8B is a public hearing regarding summary ordinance number 12,926. An ordinance approving the plan of re-subdivision of Parcel A, Seton Park subdivision, Kenner Jefferson Parish, Louisiana, into lots 101 through 142, and the dedication of South St. Anne Drive, West St. Anne Drive, and North St. Blaise Drive, along with the right-of-ways to the city of Kenner, which property is owned by DFM Investments, LLC. I have a motion by Councilmember Brennan, seconded by Councilmember McKinney, to open a public hearing. Council members, please vote. Councilman Carroll,
Yay.
Segior,
Yay.
Hayes,
Yes.
Brannigan,
Yes.
Brennan,
Yes.
McKinney,
Yay.
Wilmot.
Yay.
Motion passes 7-0. Mr. Chairman, I believe the Planning Department has a presentation or would like to address the council.
Please, if you will, Mr. Director.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is the site of the old St. Elizabeth School. I think many of us are familiar with that school. It's been abandoned since they built a new school. And now a developer has purchased the property from the Archdiocese and is going to redevelop it into single-family homes. So this is the initial part of that process, the re-subdivision of the property. They are represented, DFM Investments is represented in this by Mr. Tim Madden of King & Jurgens LLC. He's also here in case there are any questions you might have. The property is located in front of St. Elizabeth Drive and is bounded by the St. Charles Kenner Canal on the west, St. Bridget Drive on the north, and St. Christopher Drive to the south. Parcel A was previously developed as a St. Elizabeth School. The property is completely surrounded by R1 single-family zone property and residences. Parcel A is at a regular-shaped lot totaling approximately 600 square feet, or about 9.1 acres. The applicant is requesting to create 42 new residential lots numbered 101 through 142. All of the lots meet the minimum square footage, rear and side lot lines for the R1 single-family zoning district. However, there are 5 lots which have slightly less than a 50-foot front. These lots are all located on the cul-de-sacs that form the corners of the new streets that are being built. This is the situation that actually occurs in other parts of the neighborhood, where there are cul-de-sacs built into a turn. One or two of the lots on those cul-de-sacs also have slightly less than 50-foot frontages. However, the lots greatly exceed the side lot requirements, the rear lot requirements, and also the area square footages. So the planning department doesn't see that as a real concern. The applicant is also proposing to dedicate the new streets that they're going to be built, South St. Anne Drive, West St. Anne Drive, and North St. Blaise Drive, along with the rights-of-way. They are putting in 50-foot rights-of-way, which is standard for the city, and these will be constructed and dedicated to the city. Prior to the city accepting the dedication, the Director of Public Works will inspect the streets to make sure they have been constructed to all the standards that we require for the city of Kenner. And so to that, we're also requesting an amendment to the ordinance, just to state that the streets will not be accepted until they've been inspected by the city. That concludes.
Is that currently in there?
I sent the amendment, and had been amended, Section 2 of the ordinance. I think the clerk will read that amendment, or read that amendment.
The clerk will read it at the proper time. He's
Thank
just
you.
letting you know that they requested it.
Thank you.
Are there any questions, or?
And as you, thank you, Mr. Dufour, pardon me, thank you, Mr. Dufour, for your work on this. This is an exciting project. As Mr. Dufour said, the property has been vacant for a number of years. It is becoming more of an eyesore as time has gone on. The developer, since their purchase, has cleaned it up, has been keeping up with the grass on a regular basis and all other items. But this is a move in the right direction to have that building demolished and bring in some tax revenue with the additional residences in the city. So, thank you. I ask everyone for their support, please.
Still in public hearing.
Mayor?
I want to thank Councilman Brennan for staying on this with my administration, but Councilman Brennan was a true leader on this throughout the whole process. Set up the meetings with the planning department, asking me to be there, also with the developer, also with the attorney's office, with the attorneys of the developer. And as you know, Councilman Brennan, you are the first line of defense on this because you're basically right across the street from it. So we've heard a lot of things that are coming that didn't come, and you and I have been through that. We've reported to the Kenner Star, we reported to the media that give us a little time and we will work through it. But I do believe your office, with you, of course, spearheaded this, and I appreciate that because this is what belongs there. It will generate property tax, it'll generate sales tax as more people come to the city of Kenner, and also help fill our schools. Help fill one of those two schools that you shall actually be there, St. Elizabeth and Seton, help fill them, and maybe Kenner Discovery and other schools throughout the city of Kenner. So thank you.
Thank you.
I have a motion by Councilmember Brennan, seconded by Councilmember McKinney, to close your public hearing. Council members, please vote. Councilman Segura?
Yay.
Hayes?
Yes.
Brannigan?
Yes.
Brennan?
Yes.
McKinney?
Yes.
Wilmot?
Yay.
Carroll?
Yay.
Motion passes 7-0 to close your hearing. I have a motion by Councilmember Brennan, seconded by Councilmember McKinney for approval.
We have an amendment?
Yes, we do. The amendment is going to be to amend Section 2 to read as follows: that upon completion and inspection of all streets and infrastructure by the City of Kenner, the Kenner City Council will pass an ordinance accepting the dedication of South St. Anne Drive, West St. Anne Drive, and North St. Blaise Drive, along with the right-of-ways to the City of Kenner, as shown on the survey by Dufresne Surveying and Engineering Incorporated, dated October 13, 2021. I have a motion by Councilmember Brennan, seconded by Councilmember McKinney for the amendment. Any conversations on the amendment? Discussion? Seeing none, council members, please vote on the amendment. Councilman Hayes?
Yes.
Brannigan?
Yes.
Brennan?
Yes.
McKinney?
Yay.
Wilmot?
Yay.
Carroll?
Yay.
Segura?
Yay.
Motion passes 7-0 to amend. Back to your original motion as amended. Motion by Councilmember Brennan, seconded by Councilmember McKinney. Council members, please vote. Councilman Brannigan?
Yes.
Brennan?
Yes.
McKinney?
Yay.
Wilmot?
Yay.
Carroll?
Yay.
Segura?
Yay.
Hayes?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0 to approve. Item 9 is ordinances for the sale, purchase, transfer, lease, and/or alienation of a movable property. We have none. Item 10 is opening of bids. We have none. Item 11 is reclassification of zoning for final passage. We have none. Item 12 is other ordinances for final passage. Item 12A is summary ordinance number 12,930, an ordinance establishing the classification plan and salary plan for all positions in the City of Kenner Civil Service. I have a motion by Councilmember Segur, seconded by Councilmember Hayes. Any discussion?
Did Civil Service Director want to speak on this?
Good morning, Mr. President, members of the council. My name is Todd McDowell. I'm the Civil Service Director. If you don't mind, I've got about an hour-long presentation with a lot of numbers, but I will forego that, given that you have seen all that information. Listen, we could not be doing this at a better time. These folks that were sitting up here this morning were the prime example of career service to the city of Kenner, and that's what we want. We want career employees. And to do that, we have to pay decent and fair wages. And I think this is what this plan does. I want to thank the mayor for his support of this plan. I want to thank you for being supportive of this process. And I think it's competitive. I think it's comprehensive. And I think it's going to be a great thing for Kenner.
Thank you. These pay plans do tend to take a long time to get surveys done to give you these numbers, so I know we've been waiting for some time. Obviously, it's completed. How long do you suspect this pay plan can stay in existence before it would need to be adjusted again?
Well, I think the general consensus is, you know, here the last several years, the council has been giving cost of living adjustments. So my plan and my hope is to adjust this pay plan as a part of the annual budget every year by that percentage that you give cost of living adjustments. And then we can do surgical movements within the classification plan should that come up. But I think that will help keep us at least with the curve.
And that would be very well receptive, I would hope. I know I would. So with that, my other question would just be to the administration, but just to ensure that the funding is there for this to take place. So.
Yep. The funding for this is about $110,000 for the 6-month period, and that was included in the budget, you know, as we expected this to come now.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilman Carroll?
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, sir, for coming today. And as Councilman Segur said, this has been a long time. In my opinion, it is long overdue. But the good thing is it got caught up within the countries as it relates to the cost of living, salaries for people. It was forced by the pandemic. It was forced by the hurricane. All of these things, it came together like a perfect storm. But it was definitely, because the City of Kenner employees, since I've been on the council, different assessment reports have always been below other cities, the salaries. So we've been there forever. I'm glad it's finally coming to fruition. I also had the privilege to be on meetings within the city of New Orleans, who have taken it a step further to starting next year would be $15 an hour for the minimum employee. So we're not there, but I hope and believe that we continue to stay, as you said, part of this aggressive plan to ensure our employees who are dealing with inflation and across the board, that we stay within that area. You know, we are not trying to emulate anyone. We are trying to ensure that the people in our city are part of a system that will reward them. It will reward them, and secondly, it will give them an incentive to maybe hang around longer. We won't lose a lot of institutional knowledge that we do sometimes when a person says, a man or a woman, okay, well, I'm going to go somewhere else that's paying this. That's going to start happening all over the place, from fast foods to municipalities to all over. So I'm glad with your support, the administration and all of us, this is finally getting started, and we need to keep this going for the citizens that support us in all of our endeavors. So thanks again for everybody's support on this, and look forward to it.
And just one thing, if I may, to address what you pointed out, which is a very valid point. Another thing that we did is add some additional levels of classes. So hopefully that will give our lower employees more professional opportunities, more promotions, more things of that nature, more training. So even though they may be starting at the lower level, hopefully with hard work and time, they'll have multiple opportunities to rise up.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that out, because I didn't mention that, but that is something as a young family looks at it, a young man or woman, they want to be able to see that there are opportunities for them. And without that vision, without that hope or opportunities, they're going to go other places, and it affects us all around. So thanks for bringing that up. Hopefully the employees here now are beginning to feel that, because I can tell you they never felt that before. Now they feel part of this. They see other people, salaries increase, but for them, they don't see that. So now it is a beginning, and hopefully we can withstand that for some time period.
And I have about 85 pay adjustment forms here. I'm not going to call it a raise form, because I don't think it is a raise. I think it's an adjustment. But as soon as, hopefully, you vote to approve this, I'm going to walk across the hall to my desk, start signing these to go into effect January 1.
Yes, adjustment, raise, adjustment is fine with me. You know, it will produce the same effect, whatever word you use, but adjustment, fine. And look forward to other adjustments. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Any other questions,
Nope.
Council?
Move to vote so we can let him go sign them.
Mr. Morella, if you will, name and address.
Al Morella, 4260 East Loyola Drive, 5th District, 49 years. Councilman Carroll, I concur with you 100%. And I want to go a step further here. Since it's a long time coming, and whether you want to call it a pay raise, an increase in salary, or whatever you want to call it, I think it should be made retroactive for our employees. And we can fund it with the money that the taxpayers continue to pay with lawsuits being filed down here. That's where the money can come from. So I think whatever that increase is, you want to amend the budget and stop these lawsuits and make those pay raises retroactive. Anybody got any comments, any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. Madam Clerk?
Yes, sir. Seeing no further discussion, council members, please vote. Councilman Brennan?
Yes.
McKinney?
Yay.
Wilmot?
Yay.
Carroll?
Yay.
Segur?
Yay.
Hayes?
Yes.
Brannigan?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Item 13 is resolutions and motions by council members. Item 13A was taken at an earlier juncture in the meeting. Item 14 is items removed from the consent agenda. We have none. Item 15 is acceptance of contracts and civil matters approved by the mayor. Item 15A is summary ordinance number 12,917. An ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from AccuAir Enterprises Incorporated to furnish and install a 5-ton air conditioning and heating system in the VIP room/upstairs office of the new theater located at 325 Minor Street in accordance with letter bid number 21-1988 in the amount of $9,000 for the Department of General Services. Mr. Chairman, I've received a request to indefinitely defer this item. I have a motion by Councilmember Carroll, seconded by Councilmember Wilmot, to indefinitely defer. Council members, please vote. Councilman McKinney?
Yay.
Wilmot?
Yay.
Carroll?
Yay.
Segur?
Yay.
Hayes?
Yes.
Brannigan?
Yes.
Brennan?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Item 15B is summary ordinance number 12,927. An ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from Han Enterprises Incorporated to furnish and install new fitness equipment at Miguez Park in accordance with seal bid number 21-6623 and an amount not to exceed $49,509 for the Department of Parks and Recreation. I have a motion by Councilmember Brannigan, seconded by Councilmember McKinney. Is there any discussion? Council members, please vote. Councilman Wilmot?
Yay.
Carroll?
Yay.
Segur?
Yay.
Hayes?
Yes.
Brannigan?
Yes.
Brennan?
Yes.
McKinney?
Yay.
Motion passes 7-0. Item 15C is summary ordinance number 12,928. An ordinance approving amendment number 3 to the agreement with Beacon Air Conditioning, Heating and Refrigeration Incorporated for the troubleshooting of various makes and models of air conditioning and heating systems, low and high pressure chiller systems, and commercial refrigeration equipment to increase the agreement amount to $150,000 annually for the Department of General Services. I have a motion by Councilmember Segur, seconded by Councilmember Brannigan. Is there any, Councilman McKinney?
Yes, thank you, Council Clerk. CFO Herring, I have a question. Wait, what?
No, it's okay, I was opening on it, but I'll let you go.
Oh, okay. Did you?
Oh, I'm so sorry. He
You
did
can-
motion, so he gets to
Okay.
open. I didn't
Thank
see
you.
your hand up, sir. I
No, I know.
apologize.
Looking for time. No problem. And my question was to the CFO to please explain where this difference is needed.
Sure, so the original contract was for 99,000. There's about 58,000 available on this contract, but we've been having a lot of expenses at fire stations and just throughout different city buildings, especially with Hurricane Ida. So we're utilizing this contract to make some of those repairs. So we've forecasted the amount of money we need to get us through this year.
Okay. Mr. Glorioso, you have any comment? Should I answer it for you? Okay, just want to make sure you're good that these repairs or these needs for the air conditioning to be looked at more frequently than normal are valid.
Yeah, I do. Oh, okay.
It also, due to the fact of the hurricane came, they have done a lot more service on a lot of our units, checking them out. Some of them got messed up and damaged, so it's just overall, an increase because of that.
Thank you.
Councilwoman McKinney?
Thank you. Thank you, Council President. Just a follow-up question. So are any of those expenses, additional expenses, reimbursable?
Yeah, I should
Yes,
have mentioned that.
okay.
So obviously, anything that was related to Hurricane Ida, we would be seeking reimbursement. for
Okay.
those.
Okay, great. And then, so that's the other question I was going to have was the additional funding, anything that's not funded by possible reimbursement, is that funded in the budget that was approved?
So anything that was damaged by Hurricane Ida should be covered first, obviously, by insurance. And then anything in addition that insurance wouldn't cover if we've maxed out, FEMA would come in and reimburse that. So I don't expect anything that was damaged by Hurricane Ida to not have funding.
Okay, so basically the 51,000 that we're increasing it, or the 51,000 difference should be reimbursable?
Correct, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Brennan?
Thank you. And none of that money is going to pay for that suit, huh, Mr. Glorioso? Thank you, Council Chair.
Mr. Al, name and address?
Al Morella, 4260 East Loyola Drive, 5th District, 49 years. Just a little clarification to the young lady over here. In other words, this is outside the scope of the original contract and down the line, probably reimbursed by FEMA.
Yeah, so
Am I correct on that, young lady?
Correct, yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mike.
Madam Clerk?
Yes, sir. No further discussion. Council members, please vote. Councilman Carroll?
Yay.
Segur?
Yay.
Hayes?
Yes.
Brannigan?
Yes.
Brennan?
Yes.
McKinney?
Yay.
Wilmot?
Yay.
Motion passes 7-0. Item 15D, is summary ordinance number 12,929. An ordinance approving a professional services agreement with Hartman Engineering Incorporated regarding Roosevelt Boulevard improvements, West Metairie to West Napoleon, Public Works Project Number PW-2021-2-RB, in an amount not to exceed $381,255.13 for the Department of Public Works. I have a motion by Councilmember Segur, seconded by Councilmember McKinney.
Councilman Segur with the open.
Thank you, Council President. Well, this is the start of a long-term problem that I've been dealing with, and thankful to the administration when we agreed to put out a study some couple years ago to study all of the city streets and rate them as the worst to the best or best to the worst. So this particular stretch of road between West Metairie and West Napoleon on Roosevelt came in with the distinction of the worst section in the whole city. So with that, now that we hopefully approve this engineering work, that they can get to work on designing the work that needs to be done to replace that section of road, and then hopefully get it out to bid and see it replaced, because I know anybody that travels Roosevelt from Veterans to particularly airline has contacted me to complain, not just residents living in that section. So with that, I very happy to see this moving forward and hope everyone will support it. Thank you.
Questions? None? I do have one. Of course, I want to point out that the amount that we're looking at is $381,255.13. And I wanted to ask, those funds, where are they coming from?
This is being funded by the street millage.
Okay. Anyone else? None? Okay, Madam Clerk?
Yes, sir. Councilman Segura?
Yay.
Hayes?
Yes.
Brannigan?
Yes.
Brennan?
Yes.
McKinney?
Yay.
Wilmot?
Yay.
Carroll?
Yay.
Motion passes 7-0. Item 15E is a resolution accepting the agreement with Durr Heavy Construction LLC dated July 7, 2021 for the installation of surcharge fill at Fire Station 38 site as complete by the Department of Public Works. I have a motion by Councilmember Brennan, seconded by Councilmember Wilmot. Any discussion?
Just an explanation for this project?
Council President, this is the first part of this project, is to go in and actually put material on the site. This option of surcharge was to put 9 feet of material on there for 6 months. We've completed that. The contractor's completed his obligation under this contract. So what this does is close out the first part of the contract. Just so you'll know, the design of the project is ongoing. We expect that to be completed by March or April, after which we'll either let the CMAR contractor proceed or we'll put it out for bid. So,
Thank you. Any questions? Councilman Carroll?
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Director, for the part of that explanation. So this initial, is this part of the original cost agreement, or is this in addition or modification to the original agreement?
well, this is a separate agreement. This is separate. We have to surcharge the property.
Is there, what's the dollar amount? Is there a dollar amount?
For this project?
Yeah.
No, the first part was about just short of $300,000.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. President.
Councilman Segura, you have the floor.
Thank you. And Mr. Tom, I just want to put in a request that when it comes time to remove that surcharge fill, that we have many holes in the city that we'd like to get filled.
You know, that's not a problem.
Okay. good.
Understand.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk?
Yes, sir. Council members,
Thank you.
please vote. Councilman Hayes?
Yes.
Brannigan?
Yes.
Brennan?
Yes.
McKinney?
Yay.
Wilmot?
Yay.
Carroll?
Yay.
Segura?
Yay.
Motion passes 7-0. Item 15F is a resolution ratifying change order number 3 to the agreement with Hubs Property LLC dated March 15, 2021 regarding the improvements to the Annie Washington Transitional Housing Building for a net increase of $22,024.88 to the agreement amount, resulting in a total agreement amount of $385,438.99, and to add additional calendar days to the agreement time for the Department of Community Development. Mr. Chairman and members of the council, we've just received a request to remove this item from the agenda. So I have a motion by Councilmember Carroll, seconded by Councilmember McKinney, to remove the item from the agenda. Any discussion on removal? Seeing none, council members, please vote. Councilman Brannigan?
Yes.
Brennan?
Yes.
McKinney?
Yes.
Wilmot?
Yay.
Carroll.
Yay.
Segura.
Yay.
Hayes.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Item 16 is ordinances and resolutions in summary for first reading. Item 16A is being removed at the request of the Community Development Department. Item 16B is an ordinance authorizing the utilization of Jefferson Parish Contract Number 55-19871 with First Responder Equipment and Uniform Distributors, LLC, APE Incorporated, and American Police Equipment Incorporated to purchase uniforms, athletic apparel, badges, dress uniforms, hats, caps, dress belts, shoes, name tags, and insignia on an as-needed basis in an amount not to exceed $390,249.35 for the life of the agreement for the Kenner Fire Department. Item 16C is an ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from Beacon Air Conditioning, Heating, and Refrigeration Incorporated to furnish and install 5-ton air conditioning system in the VIP room/upstairs office of the new theater located at 325 Minor Street in accordance with letter bid number 21-1988 and an amount of $9,220 for the Department of General Services. Item 16D is an ordinance amending the 2020-2021 operating budget to comply with Louisiana Revised State Statute 39:1310 through 1311 due to an increase in sales tax collections. Item 17 is reports from the council and/or special committees.
Councilman Brannigan.
Yes, we, in 15B, I just wanted to recognize that the council members put money up out of their accounts to help fund this project, and I wanted to make sure they got the recognition for it, and I thank them for doing that. And the mayor also put money up to get this project going. I know it's in District 4, but it is a citywide project, I feel, and will benefit every resident in the city of Kenner. It is the new park that's been installed at Miguez Park, which will be a great addition to our city. And the Bohannons, Rita and Brad Bohannon, were behind this project, and it's getting done because of them. So I just wanted to recognize everyone up here in the mayor's office for, contributing and making this thing happen. It's going to be a great addition to our city. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Segura.
Thank you, Council President. Mr. Glorioso, could you come up to the podium a minute? Wanted to take this opportunity to let all the citizens of Kenner understand that, and I'm sure others will agree with me, we want to wish them a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, but what better way if the camera will show him that this is what Christmas is all about. Over here, Mark, please smile, give a little wave. There we go. Thank you for your Christmas spirit. We appreciate you coming dressed accordingly today.
You're welcome. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to all y'all.
So I hope everybody in the city certainly has a very Merry Christmas and a safe and Happy New Year.
Councilman Carroll.
Thank you, Mr. President, and I would just like to echo Councilman Segura, the sentiments from myself, my family, from the residents of District 1 and the city, to wish everyone in the city of Kenner and around our surrounding areas a very Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Ramadan. Everything that people that make up our city support and represent, we would like to extend that to everyone, to be safe because of the hurricane still affecting us and the pandemic that's still affecting us, and in some areas is growing. So Merry Christmas to everyone. I wish you and your family all the best, and we love you guys. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Attorney Sala, you have the floor.
Thank you, Council President. Thank you, Council President.
Legal would just like an opportunity at this time to make a quick, brief statement regarding the Fox 8 suit. And I'd like this time to have Attorney Rory Bellina to speak about it because his law firm is handling it.
Mr. Bellina?
Good afternoon, everyone. Rory Bellina, 1 Galleria Boulevard, Suite 1100. Like Ms. Sala said, our firm is handling the Fox 8 lawsuit. I'm sure some of you might have heard of it. We believe it's a frivolous lawsuit, but our firm is working diligently with plaintiff's counsel, and there should be a resolution shortly. Ms. Sala also asked me to echo to the council members that we advise you not to make comments, public or private, on this, as it is a pending litigation matter. Any questions?
Questions? None? Thank you.
Sure.
Anybody else? Okay, I got a few things to say to wrap some of this up. First off, I've been the council president now for right at 6 months, and we've had some challenging times during this last 6 months. We had a lot of activity that has occurred. We had IDA, we had redistricting, we had numerous things that took place. We had canceled council meeting. We had to pick up another day, and when we're going to have that council meeting, we had a ratification. We had numerous things that just took place. So it's been very, very busy. But I got to say that there's been a lot of help along the way. And for the council president, you know, we have people that assist us and help us to keep everything, the train on the tracks. And again, I want to thank Madam Clerk and Teresa for all their due diligence throughout the whole 6 months. And we've been on the phone numerous times throughout that period of time, trying to understand things and make things work as it should. And as well, Ms. Sala, thank you very much. We've talked, I don't know, a lot. So we keep again, keeping the train on the track. So it's been a lot. We've had a lot of, the debris issues have been phenomenal. And I know Chad's here, and he's been a trooper. And administration, thank y'all. So I just wanted to cap that off, first off, and make sure that I made those acknowledgments, because so very important. And here we are, you know, we're basically, we don't have our standard council chambers. We're here at Macy's, and it's difficult because I think most of us, maybe not all of us, but I can't speak for everyone, but it feels odd being here. This is not a government building, but nonetheless, it is what it is, and it's a nice facility the way it's been set up. But then again, we need to go home. So that will happen before long, I would hope and pray. The next thing I wanted to mention is that we do have 19A is going to be coming up shortly, and that's a reconsideration regarding a procedural measure on the budget, and it's been vetoed. And that was vetoed during this past week. The proposed budgetary ordinance that we took up at our last council meeting of 2 weeks ago was subsequently vetoed by the mayor. The legislation would have been problematic if the amendments had not been adopted. I think the amendments were removed, and the only provisions that were truly questionable were those that were removed. We did so by an amendment. And I think that cleared up that legislation and made it strong and made it valuable and important. They eliminated the requirements that the mayor and the finance director perform certain budgetary actions. I do not see anything else in the legislation that conflicts with our charter. It merely supplements the charter and fills in the details that are not included in the charter but certainly the passage of such legislation would not be in conflict with the charter. To think otherwise would put severe limitations upon this body and may prevent us from performing our legislative duties. I believe that legislative bodies often pass legislation that supplements constitutions and charters. Clearly, we don't have the ability to pass legislation that would conflict with our charter, but we certainly should and do have the ability to supplement it. That's what was done in the instant case. The council should support good government transparency legislation and continue to exercise its authority with budgetary matters, just as prior councils have done for many years before this administration. Accordingly, the mayor's veto, which is to be voted on in 19A, needs to be overridden, in my opinion. I urge my fellow council members, when it comes up, to vote yes. And I yield the floor. Thank you. Anybody have any other comments, reports? Councilman?
Yes, thank you. I was going to ask for a point of clarification, since you brought up that item, 19A.
Correct.
I think everybody's for good government. I don't oppose that. I don't think anybody disagrees with that. I think there's still some kinks in this that could be worked out, and for that reason, I'm asking again if we could defer this for one meeting to work out just some of the verbiage in this. So if I can make that motion, Council Clerk.
I don't think this is up for deferral. I mean, I don't think you can defer this matter, if I'm not correct. Ms.
Well, then I'd
Sauer?
like to ask a point of clarification from the city attorney, please.
I agree that, according to Rule 50, that the ordinance and resolutions returned with the disapproval from the mayor shall immediately stand as reconsidered. You cannot defer it. The clerk shall enter the objection of the mayor thereto at large in the minutes, and the council shall proceed to consider the question, shall the ordinance pass, the objection of the mayor thereto notwithstanding. The vote shall either be taken by yea or nay and entered in the minutes of the meeting. If 2/3 of all the members vote to pass the ordinance, resolution, or motion, the presiding officer shall certify the fact thereon over his signature. But Councilman Brennan can offer a new piece of legislation, but the legislation as it stands is up for reconsideration.
Correct.
So with that being said, could the verbiage be changed from an ordinance to a resolution?
So resolutions and ordinances are, have different meanings within the charter. So therefore, it might change the intent, and therefore, just changing it that way changes it into a different piece of legislation, because the intent has been changed from resolution or ordinance to resolution. So I would say not on the floor to be voted on today. It would be because you're changing the intent at that point, or the vehicle, if that makes sense.
But if, you
Mayor?
recognize me? Okay. But if I understand you correctly, Councilman Brennan, if a resolution was offered at the next meeting or next, whenever in the future, next year, something that we could work with and have this in a form of resolution, he has the right to offer a resolution, correct?
That is correct,
But not here
okay.
today. I think
Okay.
I think y'all are saying the same thing,
All
but
right, I apologize
not
if
on,
that's what you
not
meant.
on today's timeline, but
Correct.
yes.
Yes,
And that's something that I would,
as a new piece of
Work with you
legislation.
with.
Yes,
That's-
yes, Councilman, as a new piece, yes.
if you're asking to do this administration work with that, yes. I'd like to work with you with that.
So, Madam Clerk, or what do we need to do at this point?
But if I may interject, if I may interject something, you can also, if we could pass this legislation, we can also amend it
No.
afterward. That's a possibility, I'm just mentioning,
Okay.
procedurally.
If we're going to keep discussion in a non-voting part of the meeting, I would say that we stop the committee report section and move on to the agenda and get to that section where we can have valid discussions for this legislation.
There's no discussions allowed. There's no discussion that's allowed.
Oh, I'm fine with that, too. Councilwoman McKinney's telling me no conversation can be had on 19A before the vote, so I'll go along with that, too. But I do say that, contrary to Council President, I heard from attorneys representing the city attorney, and other counsel that were brought in to research this legislation, clearly and straightforwardly say that there was numerous violations of the city charter if it was passed in that fashion. So voting at that point against it was my direction based on that legal opinion. And I know Mr. Wilmot is an attorney, but if he thinks otherwise, I don't have a problem. But we have city attorneys that represent the city that say if we take action, they got to be able to defend it. So if they're saying that this action, if passed, would cause them a problem defending it, I'm going to yield to their opinions and move forward when we can vote on this to not overrule a veto. But I do agree with Councilman Brennan, and I've already asked the city attorney, too, to help draft me some legislation to help bring some of these issues that I pointed out that do have good merit in that legislation. And I'll be happy to work with Councilman Brennan on the draft that I have going also. Obviously, that's the good government, transparent government we want to see. Thank you.
Councilwoman McKinney?
Thank you, Council President. I actually wanted to speak about something slightly different on a different note. I know over last week, there were some issues and concerns about the fire, issues within this building. And I spoke with the chief, and I thought it was going to be mentioned previously, but I just want to have some clarification. The safety, obviously being in this temporary location and having issues, I noticed there's updates on the signs. Can you just clarify what the fire department has done and what's the status of the investigation from the state fire marshal?
Just for clarification, because the administration, I think, is a little lost. Where are we, Council President? Not Christie, not Councilman McKinney, you.
17.
Where are we on the agenda? Because we were,
We're on reports from council,
okay,
17.
okay, because seems like we're just jumping around a little bit.
Well, that can happen.
Shouldn't, but okay. Not my meeting, but we're just trying to keep up with you.
Reports can vary. Who's got the
okay.
floor? Councilwoman McKinney, you finished?
Yes, yes.
Oh, you-
Chief Morris has the floor.
Chief.
Okay, I'm sorry, with all the exchanges, what exactly are you asking me again?
I'd just like an update on what's the status of the determination from the state fire marshal.
From what I was told this morning, that the state fire marshal agreed with what we did initially, once we were made aware of what we were coming to this building, with our fire prevention bureau and I decided to implement the automatic sprinkler system, the alarm system, Fire Watch. It was satisfied a public safety issue within this building.
Okay, and that's been throughout this building, so the city council, the offices and everything throughout?
Right, we
the
did a
occupied area.
complete walkthrough. He met State Fire Marshal, the captain that's over this region, personally came in, and we did a walkthrough, and they got with the architect that the city hired, and I think he issued a report to them because he's communicating with them as part of the application planning process of it, and they're satisfied with what's the steps that has been taken to assure the public safety in this building.
Okay, and that was done this week?
Yes,
Or-
yes, ma'am.
And, okay, thank you.
Councilman Carroll?
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Chief. I just, since I've been informed about the process and where we at, and thank the mayor for bringing that up where we are, as far as the fires related, I'm glad that we have taken the advantage and the viewpoint to address the issues that the fire marshal has. I would like to get a report for all of us, what their report, the physical report was to you, to get that. I mean, to give us a copy of their report. They give you give us a physical report.
I'm not, the the fire marshal communicates with the client. We get notice after the process is in, under normal conditions, when they approve the occupancy use for us, and then we would come out and do an inspection. That's how it would normally work. Because of the obvious conditions with the storm, that process didn't happen in that order. So the fire marshal, when they were made aware that this was done, we had the alarm company come in and green tag the sprinkler system, make certain that was functioning properly, and the alarm system to make certain those things were functioning properly. And once the company send that information to the state fire marshal, they would then send it back to us to say that, report to us that this particular occupancy is approved for use. So it kind of happened in reverse order. So, yeah, we have that, but that would be done with the owner. As with any other building in the city, we get email from the state fire marshal that this occupancy is clear for personnel to function in, and we'll go in and do our inspection. We do our annual occupancy inspection, where make certain the fire extinguishers, the exit, the lights, the smoke detectors, all this stuff is in place. So it kind of happened in reverse order. So they communicate with the building's owners, not us. We get that it's okay to use.
Okay, and that kind of segues into my second part. My first part is the owners will get a copy of the report first.
Right, the applicants, yes.
I would like to get a copy from them to the council. Since we are here, we need to see what that report says. So I am requesting a report from the owners on the conditions of this building, since we are representing the people who are in this building, city employees and residents coming in.
Okay.
Okay, and then the second part that segues into it is, yes, and not to be lost to anyone, the process, the procedures were not proper. We should have initially gotten a request and approval from the fire marshal. That never happened. We came in before we got the approval. So now we're in, so now they came in and addressed some of these issues. So I just want to make sure that we have to admit that we didn't do the right thing to that. We should have done that. We didn't do that, and now we're in the process of correcting it. Thank God nothing happened, but it's important. I just want to make sure everybody understands, and I made a comment to other people about this just for my position, just to ensure that, hey, it was not done properly. We should have done it another way, and now we are here, so we have to address it going forward to ensure that we follow the proper procedures. If, and I don't know if we are intending on going to other areas, but if we do, to make sure that we do that before we move to any other areas, if it comes to that fruition. So I just wanted to put that on the floor. I just want to get that first part. I'd like to get the report for all of us, and thank you for the information. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman Carroll, and I think those are very concerning points that you bring up, and I hope that we get them corrected. Councilman Segura.
Thank you, and just following on both of these colleagues sitting on each side of these questions, Chief, in any time a building is certified by the fire marshal to be safe, do they do anything to post that notification?
As I said, I have tons of email,
Okay, let me cut
right.
this. I see a sign right there on the wall that now says the capacity limit, so that means the fire marshal came through here?
Right, our prevention department posted those capacity signs.
Okay.
Part of the law is, and for everyone's attention, this is considered a place of assembly. And it only gets to that point once it crosses that threshold of 49 individuals in at one time, which activates the fire watch. Well, we put all these things in place from the very beginning, and that's what satisfied the state fire marshal that the Kenner Fire Department was taking proper actions to ensure the public safety. So at no time was anybody ever unsafe in here, because we made certain that all those steps were followed. So that's just an addition that we put on the wall to show the exit points and how to get out of here, where the fire extinguishers are, and those types of things that you would normally see in your standard commercial occupancy, commercial type structure.
Mr. President, I just want to comment based on, unless Councilman Segura is not finished.
No, I'm fine. I just was curious when I saw the sign.
Right.
That it generally understood that the building was safe, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Councilman Carroll?
You clarified that.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank Councilman Segura for that. Thanks for the signs and all of that. And obviously, I am not indicating that you guys would do anything that would make us unsafe, and I'm glad we are safe. But I just want to ask, to be clear, ask you, the proper procedure was not handled correctly. We did not get permission first before we came in here. That's all I'm asking.
Well, as with any renovation, new construction or whatever, it's the permitting process that goes through code and plan review and those sorts of things that happen. It's, you know, when a plumber finishes his part, you get a plumbing inspection. When the electrician finishes his part, he gets an electrical inspection. But all those are done in the application process. Did that process happen during that time? It did.
I'm just asking you to answer my question. Did we follow the procedure properly by getting the fire marshal first before we came in here? That's all I'm asking, yes or no?
Yes, well, the fire marshal isn't generally notified on the typical, you know, they'll review the plans. You know, you have to let the mayor answer what they did.
Maybe I can help clear some things up, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, I'm just looking for a yes or no, but
Right,
let the mayor.
So, you know, in the aftermath of a category, and I'll say Category 5 storm, I think at the end of the day, Ida will be classified as Category 5. We had some specific things we had to do. Reestablish essential services for our people. Started off with food and water. You know the history of what we did. Y'all were all basically involved in that. It moved to making sure that we put up temporary walls. We have said from day one it was temporary. We put up temporary walls. As you can see, nothing here is permanent. We moved past that to make sure that we had code enforcement in here. You came here a couple of times to meet in the lobby before we had real walls up, temporary walls up. But even as we were putting those walls up, each and every one of you all saw that. If we want to come back and say, did we call the fire marshal? No, we didn't, because we knew eventually if we moved into a more temporary permanent situation, we would have to make that call. Someone called instead. When I met with the fire marshal, it was either Monday or Tuesday. What day was that? Monday. And he actually, and Chief Morris will tell you this, he actually had more compliments than he had negativity on it. So the do's and the don'ts, you know, the don't do this was less than what the do's were. If you ask him for specifics, we'll get that for you. We'll get you some of the things that he said, don't do this, but yet you can do this. One off the top of my head, which was addressed the next day when I walked here, if it was Monday, when I walked here Tuesday, was the lumber that we were using to build. There was a few pieces in the back area that was not occupied, not occupied. So, I mean, it was not occupied. So those things were addressed by General Services the very next day. Saturday, I'm pretty sure, and Chad, correct me if I'm wrong, these now cubicles, not walls, that was, I believe, addressed on Saturday. So when we were contacted on Thursday or Friday, I think it was Friday actually, the next day, I understand that those top of those walls were coming down. Why did that come down? Because that helps the sprinkler system. It doesn't mean somebody was going to die in here, but the fire marshal wants a few things that are a little bit better. So, Councilman Carroll, if you're asking for the things that the fire marshal verbally told us or wrote into his, not report, because I don't think the report is generated yet, but the notes that he made, we have no problem calling him on Monday, getting some things for you, send it out to you on an email, or wait till the next council meeting, but we'll get it to you as quickly as possible on the things that he saw immediately that were concerning but not detrimental to people. Again, our first and foremost thing was to reestablish some form of government because we had no place else to go. Could some things always be done a little bit better? Absolutely. That's why they put erasers on pencils. So we need to go back and correct some things. And obviously, if it wasn't safe, I'm pretty sure, you tell me if I'm wrong, we wouldn't be here today.
We would not be here, I told you.
Right. So, yes, answer to your question, we'll get you whatever he gave us, but the written report is not completed yet. Let me go back to days after Ida. If an architect is involved right now working with the fire marshal, if we had hired an architect back then, we'd still probably be waiting for the architect to get back to us on what we need to do. Again, everything was temporary that we put up, not temporary permanent, and that's something we have to address, or this council has to address in the near future. Hope that answers your question.
No, actually, it doesn't, because I'm not asking for specifics. I'm asking to say that even though it was a hurricane, even though we did all these things, and I even know during the pandemic, we had to do some things different to keep government going. But it does not mean that the policy and the procedures should not be adhered to. I am only asking, did we follow the state of Louisiana by the fire marshal procedures to get their approval, to get their assessment first before we came into the building? If we did, say yes. If we didn't, say we didn't, and we had to address after that. That's all I'm asking. Did we or didn't we?
No, we did not follow the procedures.
Thank you, Chief.
That's
That's
the way
all, and I just want to make sure that the community, the public understands that. Hey, we make mistakes, like the mayor said, nobody's perfect. But we have to admit sometime when we make mistakes, that we made a mistake, and we go forward. That's all I was trying to get to.
Well, I think what the mayor is alluding to is the situation that we were in and the need to have government continue, that there was, if we would have followed the procedure, we probably would still be in the planning phase of putting all this in place. And we wouldn't be here. We probably wouldn't be here today. And I'm gonna let my expert on this explain to you the timeline that happens under normal procedure and what this administration chose to do to make this moment here available for us, because I'm pretty certain if we had went through what's standard, what's normal, we probably still would be back and forth with the architects and all these other people trying to say, okay, you can do this, you can't do this, and that sort of stuff. Keith, why don't you?
Yeah, I just want to, because I just want to close out, Chief. I just want to say, I get that. I get that. I understand also through the pandemic, we had to work at our homes. I understand we had to keep things going. I am saying we should never bypass policy and procedures to expedite anything. Nothing happened, but I'm glad nothing happened. I'm just saying, on the record, we did not do it, and everything else that we did to expedite things happened, but it should not have happened before we got the fire marshal's approval. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Can I just say that I'm pretty sure, and I'll ask Mr. Doug Dote to come up and refresh memory for sure, was the state fire marshal's office actually set up somewhere within this vicinity during the days after Ida? And I don't believe that they had any issue with what we were doing.
Yes, sir. The state fire marshal set up their urban search and rescue teams at our facility within days of the storm. And we're here when we were utilizing a portion of the facility to set up storage for the pod locations here.
And at any time, the state fire marshal's office, I'm not saying the state fire marshal himself, but the state fire marshal's office did not say, whoa, what are you doing?
No, sir.
Okay. Case closed.
Now, and I thought I wasn't going to say, the case is not closed. We are in the process of deflecting. Do not deflect here. I asked a simple question for a simple answer. We can deflect all day. The answer has been given to all of us, and that is simply what I'm trying to get to. That's it, Chief. Not at you personally, not the mayor. That is my only position, was trying to get to that. So thank everyone. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilman Brannigan.
Yeah, I have a question on the fire situation too. In the article, it said that you can take a temporary facility for 90 days and get an extension for another 90 days. Does that mean that we have to be out of here March 1st? I mean, if we went in September 1st, the state fire marshal said that there was you can do it for 90 days and have an extension for another 90 days. And I'm just trying to find out.
Yeah, and the representative came to us, never brought that up to us, but we'll verify that. We'll
Okay.
absolutely verify that. These council meetings go until when?
March.
Okay.
The end of
But I mean,
March.
what
The
y'all
end of March.
passed, the legislation y'all passed.
It goes through the first 3 months of
Okay. All right.
2022.
So I've got some time to follow up on that.
Okay. All right, and I have another question about the PRRs. And Rory, can you come back up? Because if I ask a question that I shouldn't ask, I need you to stop me. And this is for the administration. When a PRR comes into the city of Kenner, it goes to the legal department, correct?
That is correct, Councilman.
And the council is not notified when a PRR comes in, correct?
That is correct, Councilman.
Okay, and when a PRR comes in, what's the normal time frame to send the answer back to them? I mean, are we limited?
There are limited legal time restraints. I'd rather deflect this one to Mr. Bellino.
Okay, is that a question I can ask?
I think due to the pending litigation, I would advise that we not
Okay,
go into those details right now.
okay, and why is the council not notified when PRRs come in?
It's not by design. If I've asked, we would definitely inform you. We
Okay.
get a lot of them. We get a lot.
A lot of them,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
So if the council wanted a copy of a PRR that came in, we could request that from the city attorney,
That is correct.
okay? Just trying to figure the process out
Yeah,
here on
sure.
that.
Yes.
To make sure that these things are filed or taken care of in a timely manner. That's all. Thank you, Rory.
Councilman Carroll?
Thank you, Mr. President. And my comments are relating to the mayor's veto, which, I realize we can't talk about it then, but this is the only place to talk about it during the reports. But before I say that, I want to commend Councilman Brennan for bringing up his suggestion. And listen, we always want to be able to work towards doing something that's applicable to all of us. So I appreciate that. I appreciate the fact our position that we took with the ordinance is what we're going to go, what we're going to hopefully get done today. And we can always come back and adjust things. There's nothing wrong with that. And I appreciate the mayor being open to that as well. So I look forward to that depending on what happens with this. But, this goes, and I'm going to try to make my comments short. It goes all the way back to our budget situation when we started that. As far as someone's talking about opinion, we got an opinion from the city attorney then with the budget. So everything that we're talking about now, trying to clean up, it was an opinion. Our attorneys that we hired, they gave an opinion. The city attorney now gave an opinion. So it has all been opinions. Nothing has been contested on the budget or anything else in the courts. Nothing has been requested from the attorney general. So what we're doing now, if that happens and if someone feels that, by all means, that should happen. No one has stated that we are breaking any laws, not even in the veto. We are not breaking any laws. But if someone feels that is this something that should be addressed by the courts or the attorney general, by all means, do it. We all had the opportunity to vote on the budget. We all voted on the budget. This is some things that came after that we're only trying to clear up for transparency. I would hope that we can get past this to support this ordinance, and then, as Councilman Brennan and the mayor suggest, maybe get back together and address some things that may not have happened. Maybe it was our fault as council members by not being more forthcoming. Maybe it was the other way. But at the end of the day, as long as we get it right, that's our goal. We should do that. So just to be able to hear hyperboles from everybody about this and about that, that's not what it should be about. It should be about getting the information, trying to make it better for all of us in the city of Kenner, not only during our term, but even after us. And I think this is something that we all want, like everyone said. So I am going to be supporting the ordinance, and if it doesn't, then we go from there and see what happens. But I just want to make sure that there's been a lot of opinions, but nothing has been stated that we are breaking a law. And that is important. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman McKinney?
Thank you, Council President. And just as a follow-up to Councilman Brannigan's questions, I just want to understand with regard to the PPRs. So when you receive a PPR, what is the law that requires you to respond in a certain amount of time?
I don't have the law in front of me, but I know there are different time delays. There's a 3-day time delay for when an initial response is supposed to go out to the requester, as in stating we are in receipt. It's just stating we are in receipt of this.
Okay.
Then there's usually a follow-up, and again, I don't have the law in front of me, and I don't want my words to be taken verbatim or anything, but then after that, there's certain time delays as to when you're supposed to give them notice as to when they can be produced.
Okay, do you know, Mr. Molina, do you know the law? Can you provide that information?
Just
And it's 3 business days, I apologize. It's 3 business days.
3 business days, all right.
I'll go ahead and reiterate what I stated before to Councilman Brannigan. Due to the pending litigation, I would advise not to discuss that at this time.
So we can't discuss the law in a council meeting?
Due to the pending litigation, I would not advise that we comment on that at this time.
Councilwoman, if you want, I can definitely answer these out of the public forum, because then
Okay.
we're not waiving, at this point, we're waiving attorney-client privilege. So at this point, if you have questions, I can definitely get you that answer before the close of business or Monday, the latest.
Okay, and yes, and I'd like other additional information as
Of
well.
course.
So,
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay.
Ms. McKay, I just handed the attorney a copy of the law that he can give to Ms. Sala, if you'd like to see it.
No, I can
It's
discuss
Name-
it with the councilwoman
name and
after,
address?
outside this forum, but thank you.
The law
Thank you.
says 3 days.
Thank you.
Ms. Stacy, Ms. Stacy, if you can't, just name and address, if you will. Just state your name and address.
Stacy Alessandro, 3309 Chateau Boulevard.
And I stated 3 days, ma'am, 3 business days. Initial response.
Tom.
Getting difficult to hear the law. It's just the law. I'm not
You
going to
can,
comment.
you
on
can do
anything.
it, if you don't mind waiting. Right now, we're doing councilman's reports. If you can do it towards the end when you want to make public comment, you're more than
Sure.
welcome to do it that time.
Yeah, I was just trying to be helpful. She said she didn't,
I'm-
the attorney didn't have the law in front of her, and I do. I don't know why anybody doesn't have the law in front of them up here right now. In general, just a general comment.
Council Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
You need the floor?
No, sir.
Anybody else? Nobody else? Madam Clerk, we're ready to proceed.
Yes, sir. Item 18 is new business. It was taken at an earlier juncture in the meeting. Item 19. Is unfinished business and no motions to reconsider or remove from a tabled position. Item 19A is the reconsideration of ordinance number 11,941, an ordinance amending Chapter 2 Administration to add Article 7 to the Kenner Code of Ordinances as per the ordinance contained herein, adopted by the Kenner City Council on December 2nd, 2021, and subsequently vetoed by Mayor Zahn on December 8th, 2021. In accordance with Rule 50 of the City of Kenner, Office of the Council Rules of Organization, Business Order, and Procedure of the council clerk will read the objection of the mayor into the record. In a letter dated December 8, 2021, addressed to the council clerk, subject matter, mayor's written reason for his veto of ordinance number 11,941 as required by Section 3.13 of the City of Kenner's Home Rule Charter. Dear Mrs. Tartaglia, ordinance number 11,941, adopted December 2nd, 2021, contains provisions which conflict with Kenner's Home Rule Charter and are thus unenforceable. I am obligated to follow the charter. I hereby veto ordinance number 11,941 entitled, "An Ordinance Amending Chapter 2 Administration to add Article 7 to the Kenner Code of Ordinances as per the ordinance contained herein, passed by the council on December 2nd, 2021. For those wishing additional information regarding how the legislation in question violates the City of Kenner Home Rule Charter, I attach hereto the November 17, 2021 memorandum from attorneys David Sherman and Adrian Ellis to Joyce Sala, interim city attorney. Sincerely, E. Ben Zahn. At this time, I have a motion by Councilmember Wilmot, seconded by Councilmember McKinney, to reconsider ordinance 11,941, an ordinance amending Chapter 2, Administration, to add Article 7 to the Kenner Code of Ordinances as per the ordinance contained herein, adopted by the Kenner City Council on December 2nd, 2021, and subsequently vetoed by Mayor Zahn on December 8th, 2021. Also, in accordance with Rule 50, the clerk will pose the question, shall the ordinance pass the objection of the mayor thereto notwithstanding? Just to clarify, a yea vote will override the mayor's veto, and the ordinance will stand as adopted. A nay vote allows the mayor's veto to stand.
And I'm going to call a point of order as the council president at this point in time. The reason why I'm doing that is because we have public standing, waiting to make comment, and it's my understanding that at this time, comments, discussion, and debate are not to take place. It would just go straight to a vote. And if I can, I'd like to get some clarification on that. Madam Clerk, if you have a history of any kind, if you can inform us.
Previously, the clerk's office has always followed the rule for reconsideration, which is Rule 33.1, that there would be no debate. That has been the rule. I've did a little research. The last veto that I handled was handled that way. There was no debate. The research that I did went a little bit further to the previous clerk, Michelle Sheeran. They allowed no debate. I have an audio. I have the minutes. They show no debate. This does not happen very often, so we don't have a big history of it. But those two instances that we were able to research, they allowed no debate. I don't want to, disagree with the city attorney. She may feel differently, but that's what has happened in the history of the clerk's office.
Ms. Sala, if you can chime in, we'd appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Council President. According to Rule 50, vetoed by the mayor, and this is council rules, the ordinances and resolutions returned with the disapproval of the mayor shall immediately stand as reconsidered, and the clerk shall enter the objection of the mayor thereto. I read this before. The rule that council clerk read deals with reconsiderations of the same day, not particular to the veto by the mayor, which is what you are all dealing with today. If you go to Rule 33.1, it says that motions voted on that same day, it's a reconsideration of the same day, which is why they probably say in there's no debate and no discussion, because you already had discussions open on that same meeting. Rule 50 is specific to this, as in dealing with the mayor's veto, and it doesn't say anything about a discussion. It's silent on the discussion, and therefore, a council president, if he wants to have a discussion, of course, can move for that if he wants. But Rule 50, which deals specifically with the veto of the mayor, which is what is in front of you all today, specifically is silent on it. But I only differ in terms of what council clerk's rule she's reading, because Rule 33.1 has to deal with reconsiderations done on the same day. This is not the case here.
Thank you for that. Madam Clerk, you read into the history of these prior votes and whatnot. Are any of those dealing with vetoes?
Yes, both of them. I've only, the last two I researched were only on vetoes. And so they did not come up at the same meeting. They were at the following meeting that they came up for discussion. And that's what we did our research on, just not general reconsiderations. It was on veto items. One was Mayor Yenny, one was Mayor Muniz. Teresa and myself did the research and pulled up the minutes and the audio. And, I can only tell you what we've done in history.
Okay, thank you for that.
You're
I think
welcome.
based on that, we're going to go straight to a vote.
Okay? You are the chairman, so
Thank you, ma'am.
you're welcome.
Chairman, as a registered parliamentarian, I'll be heard on that issue.
We've already decided we're going to a vote. I appreciate your desire, but we're going to a vote.
Council clerk is wrong, and I can easily explain why. Reconsideration is.
We're going to a vote right now, Mr. Brown. We appreciate you, but we're going to a vote. Madam Clerk has given me the information I needed to make my decision, so.
I apologize, Mr. Brown. Sorry. That's what we've done in the history. I apologize.
You can do what you want to, and it's your rule, and you can interpret it any way you want to. I'm telling you, as a
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Thank you. Madam Clerk?
Yes, sir. Councilman Brennan?
Yes.
McKinney?
Yay.
Wilmot?
Yay.
Carroll?
Yay.
Segura?
Nay.
Hayes?
No.
Brannigan?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-2. Council members Segura and Hayes are opposed. Mr. Chairman, at this time, I have received a request for the reconsideration of Ordinance 11,941. I have a motion by Councilmember McKinney, seconded by Councilmember Wilmot, to reconsider Ordinance 11,941, which is an ordinance amending Chapter 2, Administration, to add Article 7 to the Kenner Code of Ordinances as per the ordinance contained herein, adopted by the Kenner City Council on December 2nd, 2021, and subsequently vetoed by Mayor Zahn on December 8th, 2021. So at this time, I have the motion by Councilmember Wilmot, seconded by Councilmember McKinney, to reconsider that ordinance. Council members, please vote to reconsider that ordinance. Councilman McKinney?
Yay.
Councilman Wilmot?
Yay.
Councilman Carroll?
Yay.
Councilman Segura?
Yay.
Councilman Hayes?
No.
Councilman Brannigan?
Yes.
Councilman Brennan?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-1 to reconsider. Hayes is opposed, I'm sorry. At this time, we will entertain the reconsideration of this ordinance. Ordinance number 11,941, an ordinance amending Chapter 2, Administration, to add Article 7 to the Kenner Code of Ordinances as per the ordinance contained herein. Have a motion by Councilman Wilmot, seconded by Councilmember McKinney for discussion. It's on the floor for approval. I have a motion by Councilmember Brennan, seconded by Councilmember McKinney for a one-meeting deferral on the ordinance. Is there any discussion on the deferral of the ordinance? Council members, please vote to defer the ordinance for one meeting. Councilmember Wilmot?
Yay.
Councilmember Carroll?
Yay.
Councilmember Brennan?
Yes.
Councilmember
Yes.
Councilmember Brannigan?
Yes.
Councilmember, Brennan?
Yes. Still yes.
Okay, sorry. Councilman McKinney?
Yes.
I'm the one you skipped.
Councilman Segura?
It's that new math.
Sorry, I'm sorry. Councilman Segura?
Yes. Yay.
Motion passes 7-0 for a one-meeting deferral. Item 20 is persons wishing to address the council on special subject matters.
Mr. Al, name and address.
Al Morella, 4260 East Loyola Drive, 5th District, 49 years. First, I want to extend my thoughts and prayers to the people of Kentucky, Tennessee, Arkansas, Missouri, and Illinois. Now, next item on the agenda. The mayor claims he got a legal opinion from our legal department and the outside legal firm that was brought in here. And Councilman Segura, you stated earlier you had a communication with him as well, and they found problems with this. My question to the rest of the council, what opinion did any of you get? That no laws have been broken, there's no conflict with the charter? What opinions did any of y'all get on this issue? Can anybody answer that? So since nobody can answer, I'm gonna support the mayor's veto based on that. He got legal opinions. One of the council members communicated with him. Now, this political tug-of-war is going on way past bedtime. This issue needs to be put to bed. This has been going on, it all started on June the 14th. And it's costing us a fortune. Outside legal firms are not cheap. And we picking up this tab over this. This thing needs to be settled, and it needs to be put to bed as quickly as possible. It's way past bedtime. Next item on the agenda. At the November 19th meeting, you all had on first reading a contract to be given to a law firm where Avilio was one of the persons part of that legal firm. I asked the question, is this in fact Debbie Villio? No one answered. I missed the last meeting, but I understand y'all let this contract anyway, without no discussion. Anyway, and my next question was to you guys, if this in fact was Debbie Villio, who's my representative in the 79th District in Baton Rouge, you need to get a legal opinion and find out if this is a conflict of interest. So my question to y'all is now, did anybody, I'm following up on that, did anybody check this out before that contract was given? If I'm wrong, the contract was not let, anybody can correct me.
Council Chair,
Yes, sir.
is Mr. Morella's time up?
I'm not showing it up yet, no.
Okay.
Okay.
Continue, and I'll answer at the end of your
Okay.
time.
Next item on, the next item on the agenda, okay? Like I said earlier, this thing needs to come to an end, one way or the other. As far as the building is concerned with this fire marshal thing, let me tell you something. The first thing they told me when I was in the military, get the job done. Worry about the repercussions later. But I agree with Councilman Carroll, that's no excuse to avoid the rules and regulations and the protocol. But the fire marshal knew this city was hit with a Category 5 storm. And I commend the administration, and I commend whoever else was involved in getting this government up and running again for the people of Kenner. Now, closing, I want to take this opportunity to wish all the people of Kenner, all our employees, including the administration and the council, a very blessed and Merry Christmas and a happy and prosperous New Year. Anybody got any comments, any questions? I'll stand here and take them.
Thank you, Mr. Al. Would you like to make a comment?
I'd like to refer to the city attorney first.
Ms. Sala?
How you doing, sir? Thank
How
you,
you doing,
Council.
young lady?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
You're asking about the conflict. How would it be a conflict?
Well, she represents Kenner in Baton Rouge, 79th District, and I didn't say it was a conflict. I just suggested we get an opinion to make sure it wasn't. That's all. And I'm just following up on the question I asked.
Sure.
Was an opinion got?
No, but my opinion, I'm giving you my opinion. She's been representing the city of Kenner in her attorney capacity, just like I can have outside firm and I have outside counsels clients other than the city of Kenner. As long as I don't do that on my city time, just like on her government time, she does not represent the city of Kenner on her government time. She represents us in her capacity as an attorney, which is separate and apart than what she does in legislative branch. Does that answer the question?
Just about, but there's only one other problem.
Sure.
Public service on the computer. If there's any back and forth concerning representing the city of Kenner, that could be a problem. So, I mean, I don't know how anybody would monitor that, but that could be a problem. Like you said yourself a couple of meetings ago.
I don't
and
use
saying
my
that-
public, I do not use my city equipment, and
understand,
I do
but
not
ain't-
use my city email. I do not use city time. It's a separate,
I
not even
understand.
city address. It's a separate entity. And
Anything
I'm
that goes
sure,
on public services, public
I'm sure
records,
Attorney
that's your
Villio
word.
does the same thing.
Absolutely, young lady. That's
Okay.
all I wanted.
Okay.
Was an opinion.
I
I got it
appreciate
now.
it.
Anybody else?
Yes, sir, and as I recall it, you didn't specifically ask if it was Debbie Villio. You said, you implied that it may be, and was that being looked into? You didn't ask the question if it was Debbie Villio. So I just want that clarification made.
I beg to differ with you, Councilman. but
You're
I
welcome
did
to
ask the
that. Your
question
time
if-
is up, Mr.
if in
Morella.
fact
Thank
it was
you.
Debbie Villio, and if it was.
You did not ask that question.
Yes, I did. Look at the
Thank
replay.
thank you, Mr.
Councilman.
Al.
Look at the replay. It's public record.
Thank you, Mr. Al.
Thank you. Anybody else? Thank you.
So, okay. I'm just gonna, I don't see Mr. Teff in the room.
He left.
He left.
Oh, one time, real quick, please.
Short.
Okay. Greg Teff had to leave since you mentioned his name. He had somewhere to go. But he asked me if I would also state on the record that he was also in favor of the mayor's veto. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Al. And we have Ms. Stacy Alessandro.
Stacy Alessandro, 3309 Chateau Boulevard. First, I've got a couple of things I'd like to address, but I'll have to be quick. I don't see how the attorney can say that the Lee Zurich lawsuit is frivolous when they filed the public records request 2 months ago, and the law gives us 3 days to respond to them with written legal. I'm going to read this real quick. The custodian must provide written reasons, including a legal basis, within 3 working days. If a request is denied or 5 business days have passed since the initial request, the requester may file a civil suit to enforce his right. All they're asking, it's not like they're asking for a ton of stuff. They just are, from what I can see, asking for the salaries of the highest paid employees in Kenner, which we have accounting software, could be done with a couple of clicks of a button. It's been 2 months, and they had to file a lawsuit. They don't have any clear answers as to when they're even going to get this information. The fact that the city of Kenner is subject to a Lee Zurich investigation, it's on the news, we're being sued, I don't call that frivolous. And I think we need some answers here. I'm not even sure who's responsible for producing these records, but I think they need to answer as well. I know the mayor is the custodian, it all falls on him, but I think we need some answers about this. This is, open meetings laws again, Anyway, let me move on, please. The second thing, this is just a quick question. I don't see Ms. Fauché here anymore, but I had asked at the town hall meeting, how many contracts does the city have with the same vendor under 100,000, and she said she'd get back to me. It's been over a week now. I was just hoping she was here to give the answer, but maybe at the next meeting. And the final thing I want to talk about is this fire situation. I have a lot of knowledge about how the fire marshal works when they clear a building for occupancy. I've owned several businesses that had to go through this process. And Councilman Carroll, maybe I can kind of answer some of the stuff that you were talking about. But let me back up. At the mayor's town hall meeting last week on December 9th, I asked the following question. Are there any fire code and life safety issues at Macy's? Are you aware of anything being investigated by the Louisiana State Fire Marshal? I was told no. Full stop. We're having our regular inspection. But come to find out, according to NOLA.com, the state fire marshal sent a memo to all building owners on September 1st, a couple of days after the storm. And the memo said that an inspection must be performed by this office prior to occupancy to determine if the proposed use will be acceptable. So what happens is when you move into a building, there's certain codes for different uses. You have to get an architect to design a fire alarm system for you. For instance, this temporary structure that wasn't here before, when this fire alarm system was put in, you might need to put a strobe light in there, a siren, a smoke detector, we don't know. None of it, we just moved in here, we ignored what the fire marshal said. We just moved in here. I know it was an emergency.
Ms. Alessandro, if you can wrap it up. Time.
Yes, it was an emergency, but we should have applied to the fire marshal. We should have got clearance. We should have had a whole new fire alarm system. And the reason, I know that the chief had mentioned that we have a fire watch now. Now, this is a person that we have to pay to sit here when we have more than 49 people in the building just to make sure everything's okay. Every time we have to pay them until we get in compliance. Yes, we were in danger because we've occupied this building for more than 49 people, multiple occasions, without a fire watch. It's not okay. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Mr. Richard Brown? Name and address.
Thank you, Mr. President. Richard Brown, Sessions Lane, Kenner. It's been quite a meeting. And I first want to apologize for getting a little bit upset about the way the reconsideration of the vetoed ordinance was going to be handled. And Mr. Chairman, I'd be happy to talk with you about it later. Incoming Chairman Brian Brennan, and congratulations. Be happy to get with you anytime, and also Natalie Hall. I want to touch on this just very briefly. And I am a registered parliamentarian, and I've been a professional parliamentarian for about 15 years. But reconsideration is a two-step process. There's first, normally, a motion to reconsider. If that passes, then you actually reconsider the ordinance. According to your council rules, the motion to reconsider made on the day that it's going to be taken up, as the city attorney said, roof, I think it's 50.1 or maybe 30.1, says that the motion to reconsider shall be voted on without debate. If that passes, you then move to the actual reconsideration of the ordinance. That is fully debatable. Under your rules, under Robert's Rules of Order, it's fully debatable. I think there's been perhaps some misunderstanding of how that process works. I don't dispute that perhaps it has been the custom to do it the way the clerk said the city has been doing it. But I'll be happy. I consider her, I consider all of you friends. I consider Natalie a friend. I've known her since I first served on a charter review committee almost about 20 years ago, 16 years ago. I'll be happy to talk with any of y'all. As to the, and also I kind of got lost as to the procedure followed. I think somebody made a motion to reconsider, which was not necessary. The mayor's veto in and of itself amounts to not only a motion to reconsider, but passing the motion to reconsider. So when he vetoed it, that was step one of the two-part process. From there, you just simply get into actually reconsidering the ordinance. And I'm glad it was postponed. I was going to say also the motion to reconsideration can be postponed. It may be postponed, Councilman Brennan. So I think you were correct, and I'm glad you made the motion. As to the Public Records Act, you know, I gave Stacey Alessandro my pocket copy of the law, but I'm at a loss as to why we are paying outside counsel to handle public records requests. If anything should be handled in-house, it seems like that's what it is, and that our city attorney should be reviewing those requests, and they absolutely have to be responded to within 3 days. I'm totally baffled by us paying outside counsel to do this, and I don't consider the suit anywhere near frivolous if it's been 40 or more days.
Thank you.
Something should have been done.
Mr. Brown, if you can wrap it up.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you. I have no other persons coming up. to make statements or comments? I don't see anyone. I do wish to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And do I have a motion? Motion, second, and we're adjourned.